All right, day number 8. We're going to be working on this handle right here. And we're going to be using very simple tools again. No tools at all, basically, but it's a sandpaper. You can call it a tool. Sandpaper 400, that's all I'm using. After I use my little files here. This is the little file that I was talking about. Some of them are round, some of them are square. Just, you know, you go to Home Hardware or Home Depot, Canadian Tire, you can get these little kits. They're not too expensive. And they work good to fish, you know, do a little finishing like that. So after I'm done that, using the file in the right way of the teeth so it's not too rough, it's making nice and slick, I just use the 400, bring it to a nice shine everywhere, go all around. And yeah, we never forget our regular cabanatuk. You know, you have to stay hydrated all day. So yeah, I'm gonna wish you guys a good one on this video today. I hope you're having a good day. Thanks for watching so far. I hope you enjoyed it. I know some of the videos a bit long, but hey, if you want to spend some time out there, the next ones are going to be much shorter. I'm learning too. It's fun. It's a good it's a great hobby. It's a great new experience that I'm trying right now, so it's fun. So yeah, and the polish that I'm going to use, or the paint I'm going to use today, is this polyurethane, very clear gloss. So there it is right here, clear gloss polyurethane. If you're wondering why there's a white curtain there, it's because for winter time, when it gets -20, when I want to make a fire in here, I don't have to basically warm up the whole garage, so it helps to keep the heat on this side. And there's a car from the tenant, the guy that lives upstairs from me. So yeah, anyways, that was a little quick story. I'm gonna make myself cozy here and show you what I do, and it's not gonna be too bad. It's just gonna be sanding. That looks good. Okay, sandpaper, make yourself cozy, and then you make a mess. But it's fun. It's a good mess. When you want to finish at the 400, you want to finish lengthwise. You want to try not to put too much of that black powder into your in the wood. So yeah, the game is not to basically sand all the wood below the metal, and then what you end up having is having metals, or your pins are going like that, because you know now they're all straight. But if I use the sandpaper lots, it's going to take the wood all around it, and then it's going to show them up. So I might have to reuse those little files that I have here, and just retouch just the head on them, and just make sure they're nice and even at the end. Though I don't have to do it right now. So yeah, 400, it doesn't take too long. When you start it, it's no big deal if you put a little bit of that metal powder in the wood, but you don't really want to have too much. And I find the 400 is the best. Like, it brings you that good shine, good enough. Some people go to a 600, some people go to 1,000. I say 400 is good enough. Yet again, use 400 for the metal. You know, it works good, makes everything looks nice, all even. I know in previous video, I know I've already worked on this edge that are on this side. I don't have to touch it too much, just a little bit of a touch. Take that sharp edge out of the edge, you know, just on the edge too. It's making nice and comfortable for your hands when you get it in your hands like that. It's not rough at all. Oh yeah, this is going to turn out to be very nice. Sometimes I'll use a piece of wood like that just to lead it on so it's a little, get a tougher surface. I could go in the vise too, but I don't want to go in the vise. I just like to hang close to the fire and chill. I enjoy this process. Friend, the sun is making it nice and bright. Hope it's not too bright. It's a small surface, so it takes the lines fairly quick from the filing. So I've already done most of it. You know, it doesn't take much, even with a 400. If you get a new one, there works good. Maybe you can see this, there's a little crack. There's not a crack, but there's a little bit of a step there. I might have to use the file again and bring it even. Maybe the wood expanded or something, or just, you know, sometimes it works like that when you take quite a bit out. It might move just a little bit. Just a bit. This part looks really good. It's getting there. Oh, here's the black stuff. Just use a new spot on your sandpaper and bring it back to the wood. There we go. Try to bring it to that nice shine. Or you can even put the sandpaper like that and use your piece of wood. You know, that's another technique too if you want. Just showing you different ways of working your sanding part, and you can see that starts to look pretty nice. There. It's going to make an especially very nice handle. Working on the finger guard. What you want to do is basically work on all the metal. You want to basically make all that metal shiny all around first, and then you worry about the wood, and then you just do you grab a new sandpaper, and then, you know, you make a cleaner job just to finish them. But yeah, so that's what I do. I work on the outer rim, make sure all the metal is actually sanded the same length of the knife, and it makes a great job. It takes a little longer with the 400, but once you're done, you're done. I could have started with a 120 if you want. saves a little bit of time, but I find when you got your 400 at the end, it's a used 400, it polishes that metal really nice. Just to show you, you can do everything by hand if you want to. If you want to work on the finger guard, you turn your paper like that on an angle around, and then you just go sideways for now, and then you finish it with a little bit of a twist like that, and it'll be nice and even. Alright, working on the pummel part. So I'm gonna go like on that next pattern, you go like that, and then you go like this. What it does, it cuts all your anything that you got it's uneven, it's gonna cut it all up. Got a little bit of a spot right here. Working on it. You can see good. You know, this process can take, you know, about an hour or so, I'd say. You take your time. If you're in no hurry, you're in no hurry. Everywhere you see where there's a little bit of a defect, you sand it down. You work on the metal first, and then you finish with the wood, and then you're done. By the time you've worked on the metal, most of the wood's been worked on, so anyway, so I'm almost there, and it's been, I'd say, probably half an hour. It's not too bad. I make sure I pass the blade here, just a little pass to make sure, because when I start to paint it, I don't want to come back on it, so I have to make sure I pass the wood. And that's it. That's the trick of the day. Trick of the day. If your sandpaper looks like this, it's all black, it's a good sign. Try to use all of it. See that? That looks good. That is decent. There's a few nicks right here, so I'll work on those and I'll come back. Okay, now, so I've been all around, so I'm going to work on polishing the edge, final polish, and I'm going to try to use the same spot all the time to make it really like a used up 400. So I'm going to work on those parts. Once those are nice and shiny, I can move on to the wood, and then you're good to go. You can start to put that lacquer on. I'm going to grab the alcohol, and I'm going to wash it all up. We'll grab that, and then I'll be back. So I'm just going to finish this up, just like that. That looks good. Look at that. See, all around. There you go. Now I'm going to turn this around. I got a new spot, brand new. Pretty much you could call it brand new sandpaper. I'm going to be working on the wood, making sure not to get on the steel too much. Just to give it that last clean up. You want to clean it from all the metal residue that was on the wood. You want to clean that up. It looks really good. You touch it. for. See, there was a lot of dark that was actually covering all the beautiful lines of that wood, so you don't want to do that. You want to make sure. Use a clean sandpaper to finish cleaning up the wood. Bring it to the closest polish you can. It's always good to have that tape right there to help you so you don't nick your blade. But it's with a 400 anyway, so that's what you're using to shine it up last time, so it's not a big deal. That's why I'm keeping it to the 400. Okay. Want to bring those lines really nice and clean, but when you clean it up with the alcohol, it's going to take most of it out too, so the alcohol is going to do a good clean. And I don't use those wipes because there might be some detergent or might be some cleaning product on there, and I don't really want it, or some oils, and I don't want it to go into the handle. So you want to just use pure alcohol. Rubbing alcohol works. Well, that's that. I'll clean it up. I'll come back to you, and then we'll starting to do the first coat. Okay, so we got the alcohol, and I wanted to talk to you about what to use. You can use an old rag, or well, an old rag, but it's still clean. Kleenex are kind of a no-no because you're going to get all kinds of little boo-boos and lint or whatever particles is going to stay on your handle. And you could use paper towel, but I find there's also pieces coming out. What I found worked kind of the best is your good old McDonald's brown paper napkins. And those guys work really well, so you can just pop your alcohol on there and you're going to get to see right away a little bit of a glimpse on how that handle is going to look, because it's going to be all wet. And that's all I do. What you want to do with polyurethane, your biggest concern is oil. And if you have grease or any kind of oil on your handle, it's going to basically create fish eyes. And my years of working in the body shop, I know a little bit about fish eyes. Like this will create some pieces, you know, it'll get wet and but they roll and they don't stick to your handle, so you can get it cleaner, I find, with brown paper napkins. It absorbed quite a lot, so you wash it nice and clean. Oh, look at that. See, quickly there you can get a glimpse. Gonna look fantastic. Clean it all around, make sure there's no impurities on there. That's it. We're gonna be sanding it down again too, so there's gonna be, you know, a little bit of pieces that are gonna pop up when you wet it with the, see how they pop all up, there's little bubbles. And so the first coat that we're gonna do is just gonna be like a soak in. It's gonna soak in there and it's gonna pop all those fibers out. You know how it's doing right now, but that's what makes the really cool grain out of the Zebrano. Now, before I said I was good to go, I forgot to let you guys know that there's also some dirt and stuff behind this tape here, so I didn't clean that up. See all that? So clean that up first, and then I'll give it a nice tape all around, and then at least we can do a nice job, because you want to have that wood and you want it to be sealed all around it. So I want the paint to basically create a seal against the blade. So I'm going to do that again, and then I'll come back to you guys, and then we'll paint it. Okay, so you want to make sure you only put one layer on that blade when you're painting. When you're doing your filing, you want to have a lot because you don't want to scratch that blade. But when you're painting, you only want one layer, because otherwise it's going to be too thick, and then you're going to lose some space there, and your pieces of wood is not going to get that coating. Try not to contaminate the handle again. Now, when I do the painting, for some weird reason, the paint always wants to stay away from the pin and then get on the wood, so it always gonna the pins are always gonna look bare. So I have to keep shooting them with the spray can, and a little bit after it dries, and I have to make more coats just on the pins. And it doesn't matter because you could sand it all afterwards, but yeah, you have to make sure those pins, you shake this a lot. And then we go outside where it's very well ventilated. Oh, there's two canards. Canards are gonna have to fly away. Maybe they'll stay there. Oh, they flew away. There you go. Bye, canard. And then you make sure you're in a well ventilated place. And you're gonna have to give it a good coat, because the first coat is important. It's gonna soak in. If you go too thin of a coat, I find it doesn't go inside the wood as much. So make sure you got the wind in your back, which is perfect right now. And give it a good coat. Make sure you go along the front of the tang there. Look at that beauty. And it's going to soak it in those spots and on the pummel. So give it a few shots, let it soak in, come back on it. You're going to have to do a few coats. Shake your can really well. See how it's soaked in there? It looks like it's dry again, like right there too. So you wait a little bit. The sun helps it. The wood is soaking it in, and right now it's going to be looking really cool. It's going to look really deep. So the sanding part only took me about an hour, and then, you know, cleaning it up doesn't take too long. And it took me only one sheet of 400. One full sheet of sandpaper 400, and I did the whole handle with the metal too, taking all the lines off your filing with a 400 paper with about less than an hour. So it's a little bit thick for a coat. Don't matter, I'll make this coat first here. It's going to soak in, and then I'll go inside and let it dry. So this is all it is. It's this waiting part, and I'll come back for the second one. Alright, so this is still on the first coat, and I just wanted to show you, I've got a little heater here, and the heat rises, so if I put my knife about here, the heat gets it, and it fast dries it a little bit. So it helps, man. So you can do like 2 coats in a day, maybe 3. For this first coat here, I just gave it the first coat, and it already started to have some spot that dried up over here and there. In the sun you can see it. And I like to twist and turn my handle all the time, so there's no you don't get any runs. Runs are not too appealing, but at the same time you can sand them down. So right now it looks really rough. Like what it's going to do, it's going to seal up that wood, and it's going to be like a crystal solid at the top. And then when you sand it, it cuts that fiber back, and then it's really when you could see right into your wood. So this one's got a bunch of small little air holes, or it's got different it's got like little pinholes in there, so when you first shoot it, some of those pop up, and it looks rough right now, but we're gonna sand that down and bring it right nice. So before it gets dry, you can give it a second coat, but it has to stay tacky. Like you gotta feel like it's, you know, it's still sticking, and it is right now. It's not dry yet, but that's why I'm gonna go do a second coat soon, and I'll show you that. Second coat, just it's still tacky. It's still on our first coat, but I'm just giving it a second coat just so it's all nice and even. Years of working in the body shop, you know, gave me a little bit of hands down experience on how to shoot with air bombs, but no, don't stay too close, don't go too far. There's that, you know, 3-4 inch staying away from, and that's it. Just like that coat right there, it looks okay. There's still gaps. I don't want to fill it all up right now, so it looks really good. And we'll let it dry, and we'll come back tomorrow, because I'm going to give it at least 12 hours to dry. So that's all it is. It's a few steps. Okay, so a few days later, I let it dry and I starting work, so I took a few days off. But now that it was the first coat, it's very important to know. Now it's sealed it, and now everything is nice and gonna stay right there. It's not gonna move anymore. You're not gonna have any more little chunks or coming up or fibers. So now what you do is you take your 400 again, and then you sand it back to almost the wood again. I'm trying to avoid the metal because what it does, it creates like fish eyes. It's almost like they don't want to stick onto the metal anymore, or it seems like it's go all around and it leaves that spot. So I'm just making sure I cut all the fiber back on the wood, and then that's it. Back to the alcohol, and trying to make sure not to touch it too much. I made sure I put a nice coat on the first time. There you go. All the imperfections, take them all out. So as long as you feel like it's nice and soft, you're good. You cut all the fibers. The only thing with clear is you have to be gentle when you sand after that. So don't go too deep. You can bring it back to wood if you need to. I'm just trying to avoid that. There you go. Nice and soft now. I'll wait till I make a nice second coat, and then I'll sand it just a little bit more just to take some of those holes with pinholes right now. But I find if you try to make it too perfect, you go too deep and then you retouch everything. I mean, you can do it as many times as you want. So this is the same step over and over. It's not that complicated. I make sure after my first coat, I make a nice sanding. And then after that, all you got to do is just literally, like, super quick, just touch it. Just touch it. You just make sure you just don't even make it white like that. You don't have to. As long as you make in between every coat, you have to do that. 400, and then it's just gonna, all those things are gonna disappear. Okay. See right there, I didn't touch it much, just to say I'm touching it. There you go. Just nice and neat. Voila. So then you wash it with those brown paper towel again, alcohol, and then we're good to go. Okay, so this is the important part when I was saying that those brown paper towels are the best, because the first coat is not as important if you want, because you're gonna have a lot of imperfection coming out of it and you're gonna have to sand it down. But the second coat, see how it turns nice now? Look at that. Your second coat, it's important to use the brown paper towel, brown napkins, because good old Canadian, not Canadian Tire, but McDonald's. Good old McDonald's napkins. And what you do is you wash it all up, and you see there's no particle compared to any white paper or even paper towel. You'll have residue coming out, and then it's going to stay on that job, and you don't want it to stay on this job. You don't want it to want as less as possible. It's going to be a little bit, not much. There you go. There you have it. Well, now we're good to go. I'm going to put another tape around. There's a little bit of residue that stayed on the edge there, but we're going to take the Dremel, and even with the 600, when I'm going to be doing the polishing, the last polish, I'm going to take care of that. So that's it. I'm good to go for my second coat. All right, so it's really it was really windy today, so I'm going to try to do this quick. Might affect my spring, but go. It got cold in a few days, so I'm wearing pretty much a winter jacket. Look at this wood, man. Colors in that is unreal. Beautiful already. There. There's the second coat. See, now it's been black, so I'm trying to turn it to stop to make some runs. Already I can see there's a little bit of one right there, but it's not bad. By holding it like this, it's going to take it down. That's it. No fish eyes. Looks good. I'm going to do another coat after this, so even if there's a few bubbles, it's not a big deal. Oh, looks pretty good. It's hard to have it without any dust, nothing on there. Well, that's it. Just to show you what I do after. I keep it on the flame a bit, just on some heat, and let it dry as I rotate it, and it makes for a nice coating. Sometimes when there's a few bubbles, I just burst them with my finger. It takes them out, and then you let it dry, and then you wait till it's not completely dry, I mean, and then you just give it another coat on top of it, so it's gonna eliminate some of those little bubbles. Don't be scared of it. If you make a mistake, it's not hard. You sand it and you keep going, you do it again, as long as you have it the finish that you like, and then you stop, and then the handle is done, and that's it. I'm showing you the last step, and the next video is probably going to be about doing our last polish and making a nice easy etching on there with some vinegar and a little bit of dish soap, and I'll show you how to do that. It's very easy and it's very cool, and it doesn't cost you much. You don't have to go and get all the big acids and you see on TV. I mean, it's not a big acid etch, but it's enough that you could see some nice features of the quenching that you do, and your hormone's going to show up. So there you have it. Beautiful, just shining away, and it's almost done. It's getting there. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoying the video so far, and thanks for watching it. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. So I enjoy doing that, and then I'll take it a little bit easier now because I started working, and it'll be on the weekends and maybe at night. So but I'll keep you guys posted. So stay safe out there and stay positive, and I hope everybody's doing alright. Cheers.